There is no such thing such as a specialization. I think there is a concept called thought, ability to look at business, ability to look at situations and say, how can I best work it? There is a rational side and there is an emotional side. When we buy, we can spend 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 rupees online. But if somebody says, make a decision of 1 lakh rupees for the next 10 years and you will get 20 lakhs afterwards. And suddenly when you're looking at that button and your hand is going, I am not sure. When I see an ad, कंज्यूमर को क्या बोल, वाह क्या प्रोडक्ट है, ओ मेरे को खरीदना चाहिए, बोलना क्या चाहते हो?
Hey there, welcome to Marketing Mavericks with Indiefolio. Today we have Jaimit Doshi with us. And when I interviewed Jaimit for this podcast a couple of months ago, he was with Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance. But since then, he's joined Lenskart as their global head of marketing and CEO of Hustler. I've had the pleasure of knowing Jaimit for a few years now, and he's an extremely knowledgeable person. He's always giving insights, and after every conversation with him, I've always become more smarter. I'm sure once you tune into this conversation today, Jaimit's going to be able to share a lot of insights with you. We discuss everything from his journey to learning about marketing insurance to consumers in India. Thanks a lot for your time, Jaimit, and welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks, Kawan. Nice, always nice to catch up with you, and always nice to have a conversation with you.
I think every time I meet you, there's so much I learn. So I'm excited that today I'll be able to put out our chats to the world, and a lot more people will be, they'll get a dose of Jaimit. So I'm looking forward to do that.
I don't know that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yes, go ahead.
I
Shoot.
wanted to first unpack when you decided to hop into this whole journey of focusing on marketing. I know you did BCom. So when is it that you decided that you want to build a career in this?
I entered college in around 91. 91 to 96 was my BCom journey. And that time, quite honestly, I wanted to first be a CA. Then I realized the CA exams were too tough. So I said, nahi, CA nahi karenge. Then I thought CS karenge, because that would mean an exam slightly later. Then I saw the CS books. Company secretary books is even tougher. I said, ये सब मेरे से नहीं होने वाला है. So then I said, I was always a fin guy. Markets were doing well. Harshad Mehta time. I loved the markets. I loved finance. And good Guju boy, I thought I'll do finance. Suddenly, I don't know what happened in my life. I have zero clue when. I think around TY, I said, ये सब नहीं, मेरे को marketing करने का. And कब मालूम क्या कैसे हुआ, and then I did my MBA and I majored in marketing. I still today don't know what struck me that time, and I suddenly became a marketing person.
Wow. So, a lot of people today, especially in my age group or a little bit younger, are very worried. I mean, either they have not decided what they like, they have either learned something and they feel there is no scope, or they're just not enjoying it. And they put so much thought into this analysis paralysis they get into, they're very lost. So you're saying you just randomly decided that, and you've spent the last several years in this. What advice do you have to give to people in that space?
फुनसुक वांगड़ू.
Right.
काबिल बनो, कामयाबी अपने आप चूमेगी. So it's a difficult one. It's difficult. See, I've always my time, my career, my life was different. 91 come out, you see liberalization, etc. Practically in 91, I think I would have got a 5,000 rupee job. There was no jobs, there was nothing. But luckily, economy moved, things changed, innovation happened, and today we are in a situation, and my career in India took off together. So asking me for career advice, I think is wrong. I think you need to figure your own, if I use the word shit, in life, and it's the principles is at best that we can discuss. The principles are that there is no such thing such as a specialization. I think there is a concept called thought, ability to look at business, ability to look at situations and say, how can I best work it? There is a rational side and there is an emotional side. If you understand the rational and the emotional side of life and career and work, you should do well. The rational side is coming up, looking at it, looking at where the consumer is, doing the next thing. Now, whether you do finance, whether you do marketing, whether you do operations, whether you do HR, there is that rational side. And then, as long as you understand, there is an emotional side. There are human beings. They have needs, desires, wants. You may think that this is the best mango for them, and they probably say, "I want mangoes, and I want the best mango." And when you give that best mango, it's like ये नहीं खाने का है, because उसको वो mood नहीं है. So as long as you understand that there is a certain flow in finance also, it looks like everything is cut and dry, but it's not. Like the simple thing of whether it is a capex, capital expenditure, or a opex, operational expenditure, itself has nuances. So there is an art and a science to everything. If you study well all subjects, that you look at it and understand what that subject is trying to tell you will do well. Then let life throw itself at you. You may want to do a marketing job, you may want to do brand job, you may want to do sales job, you want to do CFO job. थोड़ी ना प्लेटर में आ रहा है तेरे पास, वो तो नहीं आ रहा है. तो you are going to be playing with the cards you are dealt with. And at that point of time, most players should tell you that if you are a well-rounded player, you can play with the cards that have been dealt. If you're not well-rounded, you're always going to struggle. If you're only a hearts player and you get clubs, what do you do, bro? So you need to play with it. You will not always have a great hand. So you need all sorts of skills in your life. Read a lot, discuss a lot, look around you, watch movies, learn from movies, see advertising, see reels, learn from the best content creators. Now, usme, you want to understand some of the finance of it, because the content creators are making money at the end of the day. You understand the operations of it, how the camera is, how he's cutting it, how he's doing the editing, how she is trying to do it. You may understand the makeup part of it, the art part of it. You may understand the content, or you may understand the resonance. ये viral क्यों हो रहा है सब जगह है, सीखो. फुनसुक वांगड़ू को भूलना मत.
So well put, Jaimit. I think being very curious really, really helps you. If I can draw a parallel to me, I always thought everybody knows what they like, because I'm very obsessive over things. And I remember being at a similar place when I used to see these Hollywood movies, and I used to be like, "Yeah, what is this? How is this happening? This VFX." And got into a rabbit hole which I think I'm still in, for over 10, 12 years of learning softwares and getting into technicalities. But a lot of people just don't know what they like, even like I turned 28 this year, and
But nobody knows. Nobody knows, Kavan. Did you know you're running a business? It's doing reasonably good. 12 months before, did you know that you're going to be in this
not at all.
situation and this is what the consumer wants? You deal with some of the top marketing people. Do they know? You're trying to search for information where none
Right,
exists.
right.
The faster you realize कि नहीं आता है और नहीं मालूम, the better your decision making will be. Don't get so
No,
stressed.
very well put. I think this is what people are so scared to do. They just don't let life come to them. They don't live in the now. They just want to plan so much that they don't act, and then that's a big issue. Um, I
Someone my age would actually criticize you and say कि तुम लोग सिर्फ नाव में हो, लंबा नहीं सोचते हो. तुम लोग सेव नहीं करते हो, तुमको इंस्टाग्राम का रील्स में स्पेंड करने का है. Save that money, put it in a mutual fund. So it's both ways. It's both ways. You always need to have some amount of planning. Planning requires some amount of safety. So you understand some safety net, you're good. And you understand that you spend on experiences and learning on experiences, you're good. As long as your experiences is good, your process is fine. You create a little safety net. You can't just create safety net. नहीं तो जियोगे नहीं. Create a little safety net and keep enjoying your life. Look around you. There's always an answer in the middle.
well put once again. I want to jump now into a common aspect. I keep on getting from young marketing folk, where they want to decide, how they want to shape their career. A lot of them get advised that stick to one domain, because understanding the customer, understanding the brand, and the space will compound year on year. The other side of people say that do various things, get exposure into multiple markets, multiple things, and maybe one day you could become a CBO, COO, or CEO, and you'll get an intuition of everything out there. On this podcast, I have spoken to various sets of CMOs and marketing leadership, and they all have different opinions. I wanted to ask you, you've stuck to BFSI for a while now. Was that a conscious choice, or what's your opinion on what I just mentioned?
See, I didn't know that, but I think now when somebody looks back at you and says, "What is your superpower?" Okay. And my superpower, the way I look at it and the way I define it is consumer understanding. ये मेरे को चमकता है. Second superpower is connecting that to business. ये मेरे को चमकता है. Now, when you are doing consumer understanding and you're connecting that to business, it does not matter what you do. Now, of course, I've been in BFSI for long. So what happens is when you're long in one industry, your premium in that industry goes up. So tomorrow at a senior level, ना अभी मैं तो 10 लाख का सैलरी में तो नहीं जाऊंगा ना किधर. So at a senior level, if I want to go somewhere, who is going to pay that premium for me? Typically, BFSI tends to pay that premium. But any company that realizes that your superpower is core consumer understanding and how it translates to business, then there is a framework. The framework can be marketing, the framework can be business, the framework can be sales, distribution, operations. But if I connect the two, today I believe that I am not a BFSI person. Now, BFSI may be there are lots like selling a current account is very different from selling a savings account and insurance and investments. Within BFSI, I've done practically everything, but that does not make me a BFSI person. The poor HR guy must be thinking I'm a BFSI person, but I can't solve his problems in life.
Got it. I think putting a premium on you is a great way to put this, right? I also agree with that. However, I've seen a trend again through my conversations in these podcasts that a lot of people are transitioning from a CMO role into various other aspects. And I think you also have a very unique role. Every time I speak to you, there's a very interesting domain getting attached to you. There's digital technology, marketing, eventually, I'm assuming a lot more. Recently spoke to two, three people who said they're on their way to do a CBO or a COO journey, some of them even CEO. Pretty large setups, like Aditya Birla at scale. So, why do you think that marketing roles or marketing leadership are poised to become, CEOs and COOs one day? And if somebody aspires to be somebody at the helm of a large company, marketing is a good path?
I think when you go up the ladder, your core skill, marketing ho, HR ho, finance ho, becomes lesser and lesser. You need to have a wide understanding of business, of people, of how systems work, how processes work. I think today I use some amount my marketing brain to say always, okay, what is the core problem? Consumer क्या चाहता है यार? आदमी क्या चाहता है यार? मेरी sales lady जो है वो what does she really want? यार, that is something that maybe I will always bring to the table. But today, if I believe that I have growth, today like I'm the CTO of insurance company, I don't think it comes from a core technical talent in that sense. You need to have everything. Can a marketing guy be a CEO? Sure. Can a finance person lady rise up the ranks and become the CEO? Sure. There are enough and more such examples. I don't think that it requires a function. What I definitely think it requires is a strong understanding of the various games that corporates need to get together for success.
Well put once again. As somebody who represent a lot of creative talent teams, we always hear once in a while that यार इसको award मिलना चाहिए. That kind of a brief I get, and we love it. It's big budgets, more flexibility and not talking salesy, markety things, no plugs. It's more to do with storytelling. Now, uh, I know you have spoken about this, especially on your LinkedIn, that you're not super fond of this. So, what's your take with this? Like, once again, right? Do these award briefs work in the first place? Getting featured on MOM, wearing a Khan, does it really help the brand? So,
No,
why do people still want it?
it helps the marketing head's brand. No,
Okay,
so I no, I hate these awards. Means you know what is the best award when your sales goes up. The best award is when the salesperson has faith that when I go and pitch, the person will remember because marketing has given the right ammunition. The best is when people are moved or they laugh or they cry. So, okay, some of the work that I've done has won awards, there is no doubt. But the brief is never to win an award. The brief is to first understand the consumer, do well, and then if you end up winning an award, it's awesome. A commercially successful movie winning the best national award, Filmfare Award, whatever, that's beautiful. So you have to be commercially successful and critically acclaimed. And that's possible. I think some of the work that we've been doing on digital films these days, I'm so proud of it because we went and got to the nuance of what the consumer really feels. When we did a film and when I showed it, it's a digital film, so we went up to 2.5 minutes. Ki, do it and create that core emotion, and then I sent it to the sales guys. If you realize in BFSI, the most cynical person is the salesman of HO. They just don't care about the HO. Okay, and they think we in HO are we smoke up and we do stupid things. Now, when I showed this ad to a bunch of these salespeople, and I still have that video, and I think that is my greatest award. When we showed the ad and we stopped it, a room full of 100 seasoned 20-year experienced salespeople in insurance got up and started
wow,
clapping. And they said, Wah, aapne kya kar diya? It does not even sell insurance. It doesn't do
brilliant,
anything. The ad was about how an agent is important in the customer's life. That's it. And it was a 2 minute film about it. There was another film we were very encouraged by this. We came up with another film that spoke about how grief is important after somebody passes away, and we do grief counseling. Now there is a way to say कि कोई मर गया, and I don't believe in that. Insurance is not about because you're
right,
going to die. Insurance is bought in case you die. It's a one
right.
percent chance. Nobody thinks about dying. All insurance companies say मर गया तो क्या? I don't know. It irritates. And then you try and do these awards. And we just came up with a simple ad, again a 2 minute ad, where the person is going through some amount of
Mhm.
death in their life, but in a position of strength. And there is somebody who comes and understands and says, I
Mhm.
hear you. And we did a 2 minute film. The response is ecstatic. The organic response is crazy. And people started talking about it. It does not need me to put it in the award entries. In fact, my I think my boss hates me for this. I'm one of the worst in all of this, and I'm like, "Karna hai, karo award. मेरे को नहीं, don't call me." And we then came up with a third one, which is just about release. Which is we had another little campaign. Some poor guy in ops, nice guy said, "You know what we should do? Yeah, every time we get a claim, we are going to plant a tree for this person and we'll send them the QR code कि ये जगह पे ये GPS लोकेशन में ट्री तेरे नाम पे तेरे लव्ड वन के नाम पे हमने प्लांट किया. They were expecting nothing. The nice cute gesture. The ops guy or the person in claims was not expecting an award, not expecting anything. They just thought it's the
Mhm.
right thing to do, and they were doing it. I didn't even know about it. One day, person comes and says, यार नेक्स्ट ईयर थोड़ा सा पैसा रखता है क्या मार्केटिंग बजट में? लाइक क्यों? वी आर डूइंग दिस एंड आई डोंट थिंक इट फिट्स इन ऑप्स बजट. आई सेड पागल है, गिव इट टू मी, आई विल फंड इट. And then we came up with a lovely film which we're going to release where we're talking about
Mhm.
the tree. Okay, a tree that we are planting. Now, I can't get into some emotional drama and say, "Ki one lady is thinking, like the first script, so somebody's thinking, she's looking at a tree, she's remembering her husband." Nobody wants sadness in their life. So then we thought, where is the tree? What does the tree represent? The tree represents solidity and it represents values
Hmm.
that we pass on. So then, how do you represent that? Then we said, this agent has a daughter. The daughter wants to talk about Nanu through a poem because वो school में है. And this one says, okay, let's get you to meet Nanu. So she takes her to a tree, just to a tree, and talks about the beautiful Nanu and how Nanu was important in their life. And then we found the journey of the heroine, and we researched and we understood the different nuances of a woman's life and how the Nanu was part of it. And that is what we transposed or infused into the film. It's a 3 minute film. I really don't care if it wins an award. It probably will. And probably marketing guys and my boss and everybody else will say, Chal, award entry kar. We probably will. But when I'm thinking that, I am thinking very clear what is
Hmm.
that emotion? What is it that people will touch? What is it that people will like? What is it when they look at their
Hmm.
film, they
Hmm.
feel? And when they feel, and just at the end, it's important that the values that the elders leave behind. And Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance plants a tree for the
Hmm.
loved one. That's it.
Fantastic.
बेचने का जरूरत नहीं है.
Fantastic.
You don't need to sell insurance ले. You don't need to say, see, हम कितने महान है, तू मरेगा तो तेरे लिए प्लांट बंद करेगा. That's stupid. But if there is a core emotion, if there's a story worth telling, say it. And in that process, if it comes out beautiful, and in that process, if somebody wants to give these films for award entries, to get a wider acceptance among marketing
Hmm.
folk, which are not consumers
Yeah.
of your product,
Yeah.
and you want to feel
Yeah.
nice about it, and you want to take that label and stick it in your annual report, then I have no issues.
Brilliant. Understood. I think you're right. It's mostly a lot to do with putting it in your CV or your LinkedIn profile as something as a badge of honor, as a validation, which happens. And I want to follow up on this particular thing. So, brilliant film, brilliant idea, by the way. As somebody again who creates campaigns like this along with our network for brands, I often feel that a lot of these decisions, right, on how to go about certain things comes from the brand, and brand's a collection of people, and that's also always under a flux. I mean, tomorrow, if you, Pranav, shift and somebody else comes in, maybe the way ABSLI's marketing wing functions will change.
Would
So
change.
as an agency, right, and a lot of founders listen to this podcast, agency founders, what's your advice to them to crack briefs, right? Because one person may say something very different from Jaimit, and while a lot of people say brand ko samajhna hai, brand changes depending on what the leadership also wants. So how do we crack this according to you?
Most agencies would blame the brand managers, and brand managers would blame the agency. I've seen that happen a lot. And I think it won't help if you blame one or the other. For the agency, it's important to understand agency का role क्या है life में, correct? Agency role, theoretically the brand should play, the brand manager should play. So let's forget. Let's assume the brand manager is a railway dabba, आते जाते every time new station. Let's assume that's happening. Now what happens is, if the agency knows its consumers, knows the brand, the history of the brand, and what are the consumers, most I'm always critical of an agency that has not met consumers. I'm critical of an agency that has not met the trade. I'm critical of the agency that has not understood the core business. Now, in BFSI, तो most agencies will come and say, "Sir, हमको आपका product नहीं आता है." Why? It's not that complicated. If my average sales guy, whose salary is 3 to 5 lakhs, if they are ready to sell it and they are selling it and we are like 5,000 crores of sales, why you can't understand it?
Right.
Now you don't want to understand the core product. Then you don't want to go out in the sun and understand my trade. And consumer to dur, you don't want to talk to that consumer. Bro, you shut up and listen to every word new railway dabba has to tell you. But if you have your consumer understanding, When the new brand manager comes and you stand over there and say, I will not only show you the work, I will show you what your
Hmm.
consumers are saying.
Hmm.
This is what then this is the work that we did that interpreted this, your problem. What is the biggest critical opportunity or problem that you are ready to solve? पहले वो तो बताओ
Hmm.
कंपनी का एंड वो बदलता नहीं है इज इट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी और अ प्रॉब्लम पहले उतना तो समझाओ you peg that and once you peg that and say these are the processes this is what works and this is why this campaign is a new brand manager will come in or a new marketing will come and say okay I understand let me reinterpret it that's okay then the core remains the
Hmm.
same like often Shrek said about life, no? That life is like an onion, you have to peel the layers. But the core remains the same. The layers can keep changing.
Um, a lot of agency founders must be thinking, yeah, it's so much effort to do all this, right? Would you recommend that maybe an agency should then pick up a domain, build expertise in that domain?
No, 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 no. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Your understanding, what is an agency's role? Agency's role is consumer insight and creative rendition to an
Hmm.
emotion that is expected. Now, most of the time, if I ask a creative agency, forget everything, brand personality, brand positioning, yes, sub ठीक है. What is the single biggest emotion or what do you want the consumer to say or think when you show this ad? चल उतना बता दे.
Right.
When I see an ad, कंज्यूमर को क्या बोला वाह क्या प्रोडक्ट है ओ मेरे को खरीदना चाहिए अरे ये तो मैंने सोचा ही नहीं था अरे नाइस वे यार बोलना क्या चाहते हो पहले उतना तो कर छाप दिया एक प्रोडक्ट डाल दिया लोगो डाल दिया इमोशन डाल दिया एक क्लिप आर्ट डाल दिया एक यहाँ से ये फोटो डाल दिया उसको कट कर दिया क्या यार दैट्स नॉट कॉल्ड एडवर्टाइजिंग एंड देन डोंट कम एंड से कि यार ब्रांड का इडियट है
Love this, love this. I think you did shake up a lot of people's mindset right now, and I'm happy that you did so. Even for me, it's really good learning. I'm gonna take this clip and send it to my team first. I want to now go back to the agent piece you spoke about, and you know, we've always discussed this whenever we've spoken, or even with Pranav, that in insurance, you have to build a product for the agent as well as the consumer, and there is
It's for the intermediary, fundamentally the
so can you
intermediary.
can you unpack this a
Yes.
little bit, right? Because everybody today wants to get rid of the middleman, right? Like that's where all the dollars are going. That's where the future is, direct to consumer. But I don't know if that's any insurance company even has that as a priority. So why is this the unique characteristic of your business, and how do you involve them in your entire process?
See, everybody talks about B2C. Everybody wants to go direct to consumer, and it's quite nice. It's nice, good fad. D2C में scale कितना है without an intermediary समझने लायक है. Now, one can say I have a website, people come, people buy. But more and more we are realizing that digital world is the reality. More and more we're realizing that people want to deal with people. People want to talk. A lot of D2C brands are having their stores
Mm.
across the country. It looks like D2C, but is your store devoid of salespeople? Can you have a store which people come, choose, self checkout and go? And in that situation, what is going to be your sales? What is the salesmanship? The salesmanship also is there. Now, in insurance, uh, whether we like it or not, the penetration is not great in this country. You're talking 2 to 4% depending on what the cuts you try and see. खास नहीं है, single digits है. And whatever we have is through a network of agents. Now, if you understand, and one of the things I have learned, so I also had sales channels, that the intermediary, whether it's the bank assurance, whether it's the agent, whether it's your own salespeople, if they don't have great confidence in your product, you're not going to do it. For example, even if I look at marketing as an intermediary, or a website as an intermediary, the website designer has to really love your product. So if I'm a product manager, my aim is very clear to create and drive enthusiasm in all of this. Now, I've always said sales is two E's: enthusiasm and empathy. Enthusiasm which you have to transmit to the channel. If the channel, even if it's an email, it's a channel, it has to scream your product. What is so sexy about your product? Why is it the most beautiful thing in the world? And empathy, कि तेरा प्रॉब्लम क्या है जो मैं सॉल्व कर रहा हूं. If I have empathy for your core issue, enthusiasm for my product, E intersection E is equal to sales, is equal to marketing, is equal to business. So, understanding that the trade is there, now you may argue that the trade is not sticky. You may argue that you may are paying too much to the trade, but that's a basic business principle. If you control the demand, your trade is more efficient and you can pay less to the trade will ask only less. If you don't control the demand and the trade controls your demand, then you have to pay the premium to the trade. Now, business is all about trade and the business trying and fight. And it looks like they are opposite each other. They are not. If it's easy to sell and I can sell more, the trade is okay with a lower margin and the business keeps it because the business is investing in the consumer and they're getting rotation for that same time. So they are happy. If business has stopped doing this, the trade has to do a lot of sell. It's not good, so they require to be compensated more. That's the simple thing. I don't believe that D2C trade, I don't see this as fights. It's a supply chain. It's a where does the demand creation lie? Where does the power equilibrium lie? And that needs to work.
Is this unique to India, Jaimit, or globally?
No, worldwide,
Wow. So even America, Europe, we
worldwide.
have agents who do the heavy lifting of selling, basically.
Yes, everywhere. So life insurance has tried its best to disintermediate for eons, but across the world, there are very few characteristics, few people who've been able to disintermediate at scale. According to me, koi nahi hai. General insurance, mein, there are pockets of interesting things coming in, but again, it has not seen adequate scale. Whereas it's still okay, it can still happen. But understand that I see even a website as a channel.
Right.
Now, now you're pouring money into that website, you're pouring money into an ad, you are calling it direct, but you're pouring that money into an advertising, and you believe that that advertising is building your brand. I respect that. I'm not saying no. End of the day, there is somewhere the money is going. And you have to decide where it goes. Now, insurance per se is a very long term. Life insurance is very long term play. In a long term play, a company seems abstract. Okay, while it tries to build everything. Birla is a company. I mean, Birla is older than India, 1857 or something. It can trace its origin story. Nobody's questioning Birla's longevity. Yet, when I am looking to buy and I am looking to make that payment for the next 12 years so that I will get benefit for 25 years, when that person in my neighborhood is standing there and saying, I'm there for you, just that thing goes up. We tried to do online sales and we tried to do tele sales. Okay, first we tried to do online sales, which 0.01% conversion. Then we said tele sales, 2.5% conversion, average ticket value 30,000 rupees. Then one day the guy comes to me and is like, क्या हो रहा है? बोला एक काम कर, नहीं हो रहा है ना? Give it to the sales. Sir, लेकिन क्या? I said I'll give you both credit. Give it to the sales guy if you can't close. You want credit? Now I'll give you credit. He started giving the leads to the salesperson. Suddenly one day he comes jumping and dancing to me. He like, the conversion went to 20%, 18 to 20%. And the average ticket size from 30,000 went up to 100,000, 110,000. Look at this thing. Why? There is somebody in front who says, sir, ये है, डाल दो. And It's when we buy, we can spend 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 rupees online. But if somebody says, make a decision of 1 lakh rupees for the next 10 years and you will get 20 lakhs afterwards. And suddenly when you're looking at that button and your hand is going, I am not sure. So
I love the hardcore data you gave. I think this is in itself a great validation as to, it's a very, very integral part. I want to now talk about generally the homogeneity, right, of insurance products. Now, I also know, and while it's an unsaid thing, a lot of agents also sell everything, like it's like मैं ये बेचूंगा वो बेचूंगा मैं सब बेचूंगा सब ब्रांड्स का इंश्योरेंस बेचूंगा. So, as a brand, how do you differentiate there, right? What has really worked for you? Here, if you talk about these things, there will be a pull towards you.
I think what happens is that there is this mass of agents that's probably spoiled over the years by us and by industry and by everyone. So that's okay. I think the core thing of any trade, and you want to hold the trade, you have to make a set of procedures and processes and rituals and all of it that makes it easy to sell your product in a certain manner. If that gets done and reinforced and reinforced and reinforced, it becomes difficult for the trade to move anywhere else. And that's where you get it. Now, for example, if you're consistently trying to come up with good products, okay, so first, very important. So products need to be interesting, innovative, in the consumer's mind, etc. That goes in the channel, and that's a good thing. That's first. Second, the way marketing helps in promoting those products. So we suddenly one day realized, and then the entire industry followed, that you don't need ads so much on TV. You need vertical videos for WhatsApp. And do 1 minute vertical videos with these. This is a template. Extremely fast cuts, talking product, but talking about reality and how it is, and talking straight in the camera, cut, 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 cut. It became a huge hit because the trade likes it. Then how do you sell if there is adequate training in the trade? How do you sell it? How do you fill the policy? How do you make life easy? As digital head, it is my job to ensure. So earlier there used to be a physical form, 15 minutes. Then we moved to e-app, 12 minutes. Now I have a new e-app which I'm trying to cut and cut and cut. I'm trying to bring it down to 4.5 minutes, 3 minutes. Because simple data, I'll give another example. We have a software that helps you pitch and sell. That peaks at around 12 to 3. Okay. That is roughly the time. And if you see all internet traffic, you will see like at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, it will peak. It will then go down. And then at 1 o'clock, it will go up. 1 to 3 is maximum. And then it has a long tail, which it goes down. People are receptive to business in that 10, 11, but 1 to 3 is a massive this thing. That's when during lunch they finish the things. And everybody will tell you, I've seen it again and again in finance, Wednesday is better than Monday. It's just Wednesday 3 o'clock ट्रैफिक को बीट करके दिखाओ 2-3 o'clock का ट्रैफिक बीट ही नहीं होता है बिकॉज कंज्यूमर ऐसा सोचता ही है आई कैन draw that graph for every industry and it comes to that. Sunday you will see a lower graph but very high sticky customers and the conversion rate of Sunday leads are higher. Same thing happens in our software to pitch. You will see at 3 o'clock maximum agents are using this software. Perfect. Morning 9 o'clock when they're sending greetings, it's there. Then at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, it will start peaking. Wednesdays you will see it peaking. Sundays you will see less but very high conversion volumes. Standard. Offline we have, online we have, same. The app filling software peaks at 7 p.m. Why? Because it's a drudgery. So the guy takes the data, sits aram se in the office, goes to his laptop, opens it up and is typing Kawan Antani, address, everything. Bhar raha hai, bore ho raha hai. We wanted to break this. We tried CKYC data, ye data, wo data. It autofills a lot of this thing. Aadhaar, OTP, ye sab kiya. I am saying as a digital head, my success is not 100% e-app adoption. That's simple. I just burnt all the forms. So that is there. The success, I will say, is when it is at 3 p.m., I see a peak of e-app. That means the sales guy has the credibility of the app to look at Kawan and say, sir, ये product है, चलो मैं अभी भर देता हूँ. Sir, आपका PAN card दो. टक 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 टक. and in 3 minutes it gets done. That, if I'm able to achieve, is sexy. If I'm able to achieve that, and I have that processes that make it unique to Birla, then I challenge the trade. Go out and get whatever you want. So a lot of my DM business, we see lower attrition of tenured people because once you have a history, once you have a certain way of doing it, once you have the lead management, once you have the tele support, once you have a training program, once you have the award functions, once you have the kind of pride that we build, जा ना बाहर जाके दिखा तू बेच सकता है कि नहीं होगा. You'll come back.
One big learning for me also from what you just said is, other than the massive insights you have by crunching data, it's also that if you make it easier for the agent to work with you, I think they'll always feel, hey, you know
Exactly.
what, it's just so much easier to sell Birla.
Simpler. Correct. Oh, faster, higher, stronger. कौन सा है?
Horlicks.
Olympics motto, faster, higher,
I thought you
stronger.
said fastest, strongest, sharper.
Something, no, no. वो तीन scarcities, no? Scarcity of time, trust, and
Hmm.
attention. So there is always three scarcities. There was a book I read, I don't know. Soul of the New
Okay.
Consumer, I forget. Scarcity of time, trust, and attention. You build around this, you build products around this. Impossible for the consumer to go anywhere, the trade to go anywhere.
Wow, nice. If you remember the book, let me know. I'll add this here.
I think it's Soul of the
Soul of
New
the New
Consumer.
Consumer. Awesome. Awesome. Now I want to kind of take you a little bit out from insurance and just generally ask your, opinions, which I'm really fond of, and I'm sure everybody also is. One is obviously actually talking about opinions. You are very active on LinkedIn, and recently, like I think one of your posts is going really viral, where you're enjoying with the entire team. So. Would you say, like, why do you do this, right? Do you think personal branding is important? Everybody talks about it. Like my co-founder keeps on telling me, come and post more on LinkedIn, and everybody's talking about that these days. So do you think it helps a marketer do better in their career, or what's your stance? What's your opinion again here?
I got pulled up by people for kind of the post I'm doing.
Really?
Yeah. One of the posts was like, I upset the powers that be. So if you're going to build a brand on LinkedIn, no, thoda sa it's see what happens is it just happened organically. Do you think it's a personal brand that gets built? Again, if you do for awards, you'll never do the right advertising. If you do to build a personal brand and write some bakwas, people will see through it. और कितना लिखेगा क्या बकवास लिखेगा after a point of time you will run out of bullshit to write and people can see through bullshit yaar. It doesn't work. That post you're talking about went viral. What did I
Yeah.
say? I just said, I just showed a video. What had happened is we did an offsite, and I said, I am tired. Like, I remember when I was in MT, I remember when I go to offsites and see presentations, and I am like sleeping in the corner and falling asleep. Like, कि क्या टाइम पास है यार ये क्यों कर रहे हैं हम ये स्ट्रेटेजी क्यों कर रहे हैं ये ऑफिस में करो जो एक्चुअली इंप्लीमेंट होगा everybody goes to offsite make these idiotic PPTs and then forgets about it there is no benefit out of it I said I'm doing offsite it's a bloody picnic and I banned presentations, I banned studies. So now what do you want to do? Team building, masti karo, साथ में do team building. Then suddenly they called me on this thing because I'm the hippo in the room, and I had to give the award. I said award like कुछ speech दो, भाग मैं speech नहीं देने वाला हूँ. Hey, who wants to listen to a speech on an offsite है? तो उसको लेके जा रहा है यार. And then I said okay एक काम करते हैं DJ music चला and the DJ लगाया झिंगाट. Now, I know that Chinga do tuck, 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 and tuck, 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 tuck. I see all the young kids dancing. And it was playing, and I didn't know what to do. So I went tuck, 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 hey. And the crowd responded. All I did was tuck, 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 hey. And crowd responded, and somebody shot that video. And I just felt it's a story worth saying. It's such a cute
Right.
video. I
It is.
thought it
It
was a
is.
cute video. I just put it up. I didn't realize it would go viral. पागल है क्या? How which marketer knows ये viral जाने वाला है? I just put it up and I wrote that I banned offsite. What am I writing on LinkedIn? I am writing what I feel. I think there are two, three things. One, I have had opinions. I believe that I've had these opinions for last 25 years, 28 years, whatever. Now that I'm older, my opinion has some value. Same thing if I had one 22-year-old would have been spoken, एक रुपया का like नहीं मिलेगा बेचारे को. I have, it has some value. Why I'm CTO, CDO, CMO, whatever. Some CXO है. तो कुछ तो value है opinion का. The role of the older person is to be a bridge builder, is to give that opinion, is to understand what young people want, allow them to do what they want, but give your opinion and not forget when you were young and call bullshit bullshit. That's what I've been doing on LinkedIn. And I just realized that that is now finding an audience. Calling bullshit bullshit seems like an audience. Calling an issue is is a this thing. And I speak with honesty. I speak with what I believe in. And I don't give ज्ञान कि ऐसा करना चाहिए. I give ज्ञान कि ये मैंने ऐसा किया और ये मेरे को benefit मिला. ये मैंने ऐसा किया और ये फटा. As long as you're able to say that, and as long as you're able to transmit that, it is finding an audience because people are resonating. The stupid act of an idiotic old man dancing with 140 people and saying, I banned offsides, got a lakh and
Yeah.
a half views.
In
It's
a
not,
day, so it's
कुछ
still
बड़ा नहीं
counting.
है. In a day, it's still going on. And कुछ बड़ा नहीं है. But it's core emotion that you, Kavan, is feeling, that I am feeling, that hundreds of people are feeling and saying, yes, yes, यही होना चाहिए, यही होना चाहिए. It requires an older man to get up and say it. I will. Young people cannot do it. It's just, कौन क्या बोलेगा? They feel it.
Uh,
I am like भाड़ में जाए जो मन में कर. Like HR आएगा, उसका अंकल आएगा, CEO आएगा, देखा जाएगा.
but
देख लेंगे.
Jaimit, I must say, like, it's also a big, wake up call. Like, I sent this to my co-founder in the morning, saying, "Yeah, I'm telling you, the both of us also don't like doing all this, but we're like, अरे offside पे करना पड़ेगा ना. Like, what's the point of the offside?" So it also sets an example, saying if Jaimit and Aditya Birla at their scale, like I think my entire office will fit in one of the meeting rooms, right? If they at scale can do this, we तो definitely should not, sit and make these PPTs because we are also like 6 o'clock कुछ बोलना पड़ेगा, 5 o'clock we'll start putting numbers together and we'll say something and the team's like, whatever, why did you?
कवन कवन एक simple है. What will you say in
Yeah,
an offsite that will change the world that you can't say right now in your
exactly,
office?
exactly,
I don't know. क्या बोलेगा ये तैयारी जीत की.
absolutely,
कंज्यूमर फोकस रोज
right,
का काम है.
right. But I think the video plays a big role.
बकवास
Huh? I
बंद
mean, I
करो यार.
remember we was talking and they were like,
Actually, yes.
"Who's Jaimit?" I'm like, "He's the most energetic person in the middle doing it. He's not somebody in the corner." They were like, "Oh, what are you saying?" So you are definitely an exception for how leadership is perceived. Huh? So that's very good. It works for you. um, I now want to follow up on just the last one, two bits. So one thing I also really resonated, which you've spoken about again on your LinkedIn, is don't work for fatherly figure. I mean, don't go and work for people who are
Yeah.
a boss, and don't seek fatherly figures. Work for a mentor. Now, I also say this to my friends, because they come to me as a founder, a young founder, saying, how do I do this? And what they tell me is, how do I know, right, till I don't suffer? Because everybody puts up a face in an interview, both parties. So do you have any suggestion there as to how can a candidate understand how their employer will be?
नहीं रे, फिफ्टी
Okay.
फिफ्टी है. Both are preening. So if you're a good candidate, that guy is putting on makeup to try and say, क्या हम लोग ब्यूटीफुल है, तू आजा, अपन लाइफ बदल देंगे, हम स्टार्टअप है, तेरे को ईसॉप देंगे, तू करोड़पति होगा. वो भी फेंक रहा है. ये भी जो इंटरव्यू दे रहा है वो भी फेंक रहा है. अभी दो फेंको एक दूसरे से बात कर रहे हैं, उसमें नाउ यू आर ट्राइंग टू सर्च फॉर समथिंग. आई डोंट थिंक सो. आई थिंक it's complicated. I think you'll stumble your way, you'll find it. A fatherly figure, see, you can't love your job because if you're expecting to love your company is an inanimate object. And it's like, I love this rock. The rock is not going to love you back. You don't love your rock. Love the work that you're doing, the the ability to take work and do something interesting with it, that comes from
Mm.
inside of you. That is what you want. You don't, if somebody tomorrow you resign, I resign, if I and you come and have a connection, we'll continue to work. We'll continue to be civil to each other. We'll continue to be nice to each other. Tomorrow you'll come back and you'll work again. I like easy exits. I like आराम से बात करो, no emotional अत्याचार, be happy. Oh, Porus and Alexander, no. How do you want to be treated? He said, like a king. Fundamentally, he's saying, like a human. So if somebody asks you, how do you want to be treated? Like a human. How would you like to treat a boss?
Mm.
Like a human. Just because he's boss does not mean you want to
Yeah.
treat him differently. Of course, respect होगा, elder होगा, richer होगा, own करता है, respect तो देना चाहिए. ओ, नहीं तो इतना अक्ल है तो तू बॉस क्यों नहीं है? It is simple. Respect दो और but वो respect तो मैं किसी को भी दूंगा. So as long as if humans are working towards a cause, towards an empathy, towards a consumer, towards an enthusiasm that they have, I think if you keep it simple, it's easier. You don't get disappointed. You don't get unnecessary
Mhm.
involved in it. Do your bit, give it your best. Your name is written on it. Your own, you're taking salary from someone. Justify it. You're going home and sleeping. There is something interesting that you've done. Do that. You don't need ये मेरा डैड जैसा है, ये मेरा आप मेरे अंकल जैसे हो. नहीं यार, ना ना मुझे देना है, ना मुझे लेना है. मेरे को काम करने का है, मेरे को ह्यूमन से ह्यूमन डील करने का है, मेरे को घर जाने का, मेरे को
A lot of times, when I'm talking to a lot of our clients, I see a common pattern where some of them are in their career in their same company for 10 years, 15 years. Sometimes,
नहीं.
folks jump in the sense like they've spent 4 5 years, then they do something else. They don't want to be in a comfortable spot. um, for a lot of senior marketing folks, who probably are in the path to become a director marketing or a marketing head or something like that, when do you think is the right time to leave a company? And I know there's no right answer. Everybody wants to be uncomfortable, everybody wants to challenge the status quo, they want to do this. You've done that.
वो बोलते हैं सबको अनकंफर्टेबल है, सबको नेचुरल स्ट्रेसेस और कंफर्टेबल ही अच्छा लगता है. वे कोई अच्छा पैसा देता है, अच्छा पोजीशन देता है और भाग.
So is that been the case usually, where it's like, you've been head of marketing and CMOs in so many amazing places? Is it always that, hey, now I want to do something else, or is it usually your external force which influences you?
Both ways. I have seen all sorts of things in my life. I've seen that if you've been large amount with a firm, sometimes see two, three things. One, if you invest in yourself a lot, okay, and you keep learning new stuff, new skills, etc. There was a phase in my life where I really, really invested in myself a lot, and my knowledge grew crazy. So much more that see firm क्या करेगा, 5 10 15% इंक्रीमेंट देगा. अरे तू बहुत अच्छा, तेरे को 15% आज देगा और किसी को नहीं दिया तो यू बी हैप्पी. And they will do all those things and you'll feel very happy. But if you really invested in yourself and you're investing into yourself and you are compounding at 25 30 40% and the firm is giving you 5 10%, at some point of time there is a dissonance where the market values you here and you are here at the firm. Now you can have a chat with the firm, and typically the firms don't like it. I never understood why. And they will say, "Okay, I'll give you so much. I'll give you." They will try and do some little silly things and all that. But there's still a gap, and at that point of time, it's easy to move out where somebody else gives you that. There is value. You have 30 years of work life. You want to make the most amount of money. You want to retire happy. Now that's something that I respect in every employee that works with me. I'm clear about it. And my job is to consistently ensure that your value goes up. When your value goes up, if the firm comes into level, awesome, you stay. If the firm doesn't come into level, then you go. Then there is the question of, I like it here. I like my boss. I like the environment. I stay close by. There is jig jig nahi hai. Fear of unknown. So there is a difference and there is a premium you are ready to pay to
Mhm.
stay on. That is also fair. That is absolutely fair. Third, I am only growing at 7 8% and my salary is keeping pace. then why would I go? बाहर मिलेगा 15% extra. It'll all even out. That is another way why people then end up staying. Or sometimes I am really high, it's low, but that premium and the comfort is so high that I don't want to go out. So there are various things. At the end of the day, it is a tug of war. If anybody says कि मैं पैसे के लिए काम नहीं करता हूँ, वो थोड़ा सा minority है, वो thank you. I like those people. I wish you guys work with me at some point of time. But there is always that tug of war. Then there is the tug of war of I want to push my knowledge up, and the company is not allowing
Right.
me. There is a push. I want to learn this, company is pushing it down. My boss is pushing it down. सीख नहीं रहा. That time I want to break through. And that time I want to break through, I will move out. Because I know that if I don't learn, company is constantly पैसा भर के दे रहा है. मेरा नॉलेज दे रहा है, पैसा इतना दे रहा है और दे रहा है. तो मेरे को सीखने को नहीं दे रहा है. You see that kind of situations as well. मेरे को नया नहीं करने को दे रहा है. मेरे को फ्रस्ट्रेट कर रहा है. Then again you will try and move on because you want to learn and you want to push out. So those are the things. Now, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, it is at that point of time. What is interesting, I believe that if somebody gives me good work to do, good boss, good understanding, good ability, I'm ready to sacrifice some amount of money to work for that. But I need to learn more. But that's my thing. But once I learn and I do well and I do well and I'm giving you returns, and if you don't keep the money up to where I am coming in, then I think you are cheating with me. That's not right. Now that's where I will ask you or I will move out from money. But I'm trying to do new stuff and you're telling me मत कर क्यों ऐसे ही होता है. Then again, that I will leave first.
Wow, I love how you always make things into a framework. And I think, that delta across all these dimensions makes so much sense. I can really resonate with it. And a lot of learnings for me also in terms of, how to retain and keep my best players in the company. I'll head to the last question now, and we're almost reached the end of our time. So, you know, I love reading Sapiens, and I think one thing I've also realized is that uh, disruptions are so rare to come by. Like, there are people who've lived for thousands of years, or there are people who've been in pockets of thousands of years where kuch badla nahi. And I think that way we are in a very exciting space. I think in your lifetime you must have seen so many disruptions. Me, generally, in the last 10-15 years only, like, there are so many which have happened. um, this is just some context for the AI question, right? For you, where we are right now going through, I think, something which I personally feel is very disruptive. Like, the adoption is crazy. I literally saw my mom asking ChatGPT for some unique khichdi recipe, last night, and I was like, how do you come across this? And she's like, on Facebook, and I was like, so much has happened, in the last few years. A lot of people are like, assuming things. A lot of people are saying things. What do you think are some assumptions which people have gotten it wrong, and how do you think people should be like embracing themselves to this whole new change of AI? Because every time a disruption happens, a lot of people do very well, but a lot of people also get left behind.
I've always learned that disruptions will continue to happen. So I've been lucky in my life. For me, the big disruption in India was the liberalization when I passed out of school, and that disrupted a lot of status quo. Then when I just entered workforce, I saw internet coming. I'm like, "Ma, awesome! What beautiful app!" Then I saw Steve Jobs giving the mobile, the first iPhone, and he just goes scroll. That's it, and it just slows down, and you get that, and the crowd is having in rapture, like क्या कर रहा है? Scroll कर रहा है, you know. You should that video is like a must watch. The first, I think,
Yeah.
2008 Steve Jobs iPhone launch video. You should just see it. It is wild, yeah. And like today, what you take for granted. So that form factor was a big disruption. The app store and everybody working with the apps and the mobile. And then in India, we saw demonetization. Demonetization में जियो डाल दिया, सबको इंटरनेट दे दिया, and then the world saw COVID. I like, so disruption तो आ रहा है और we are like ready for it. ये ले Gen AI. Disruption is now going to be accelerated because I think a lot of it. Disruption today, what you and me are saying, is because we've seen era of slow disruption, we're seeing new. I think young kids are going to grow up not going to call it disruption. They're going to call it normal. Naya, naya, naya. New things are going to happen. So, one, don't see it as disruption. Two, every time somebody young comes to you and says, this is awesome, first say yes. And say, awesome, sexy, beautiful. Like, I recently, like, I just, for some idiotic reason, I was not on Snapchat. My daughter and some young kids in office doing Snapchat. And like I hardly have four people who I Snapchat with, but I'm enjoying it, and it's good fun. Like I'm an old uncle putting, and I'm bald, so all those wigs no come out beautiful for me on Snapchat, and and I'm enjoying it, and I'm learning. I'm learning a language. I'm learning a certain thing. Learn, learn. You will figure out the adoption. If anything new is there, why are you seeing it as disruption? First, think of it as learning. Once you learn, you'll figure it out. And will there be a have and have nots whenever new technology comes? Always, always. Will people be disrupted in terms of jobs? Yes. Will they get another job? Yes, if they are ready to learn. If you don't want to learn a new skill and say, this is the way I sell bananas, that's a problem. And then you need the government safety net to hold a lot of these people, and you need the social security. And the government today, I think today India is rich enough to have that government give a certain basic minimum income, basic minimum work, basic food net. So the government will catch a lot of these. So it's not the best, but I'm sorry, but because the education has not been that great for them, the circumstances not been them, they've not been able to adapt to new things, and they will need the government net to hold them. But people like you and me and others around, come on, bro, what's your excuse? Learn this, learn anything new. What? Just simple. Why do you not want to learn? Answer that question, then I will listen to your argument. And once you learn it, it becomes a tool of
Hmm.
productivity. We're trying to play with Gen AI and we're trying to figure it out. And we put out a little test pilot where our products are a lot of products. Just compare one product with the other. Or tell me what are the five things that I need to say about the product. And Gen AI is able to spit it out nice and cute. I already have 1,500 adoptions. But there are certain people not adopting. By
Right.
क्यों? क्यों? And क्यों नहीं करने का है? क्यों? So फिर you will be left behind. There are people who are running ahead, and you will not be as fast and you will not be good. My job to keep telling you, keep training you, keep holding you. Your job is to take one step.
Wow, love that, love that. I think for everybody out here, who's stuck along so far, Jaimit really practices what he preaches. And when you joined GrowthX, I mean, anybody at head of marketing, big company would be like, "Arey, meko sab aata hai," But having you there as somebody who literally, I mean, you are one of the most senior people by a mile, and we just a bunch
By
of
a
kids
mile.
trying to learn growth marketing. It was really, really like amazing to see you there. Like I was questioning, at 28, yeah, should I do this or what? Itna bhi company chalana hai, time nahi hai. And when I saw you there, I was like, I should do this every 3 months. I should get into a cohort and learn something, right? Because
You know that story? You know what was the story of Growth X? It was damn funny. People in my team were like, हमको सीखना है सीखना है. So I kept researching, giving them one after the other a course to attend. They would go back and say, "Sir, मजा नहीं आया. Sir, मजा नहीं आया." I got really irritated. इधर साला सीखने को I'm trying to teach you, and you are coming and say it was not good. So then one of my friends, Adar, he came, "Arey, I found this amazing course and I'm enjoying it." I said, पहले मैं करूँगा, भाड़ में गया. And I sat through it. Okay. Now, to be fair, I knew what they were speaking, but the framework was first time I'd seen of somebody put it in that
right.
type of a framework, and I loved it. And I said, if I have to do it, I have to do it well. So sat through all the lectures, was the most like the front bencher in every class, commented on everything, tried to do every idiotic homework, and I probably sucked at those homework because okay, now for me, doing homework was a little bit of a problem. Okay, now that's a little problem. But then when it came to the main capstone project, I bloody went in. I remember we had 3 days of holy, 4 days long weekend, and I was working. I was doing my stuff. I was. really involved in it. Maybe we didn't make it, that was fair. But I remember and I love that experience. And then I told the kids, now you go, I know this is good. Now you come and tell me this is bad, I will slap you. But look at that. Thanks to that, I met a bunch of young kids. I met you. I met a lot of young people. And who's changing the world? Young people. Old people aren't changing the world. Young people are changing the world. My age people aren't changing the world. My job is to look at young people like you. And when you are changing the world, in case there is a stone coming your way, I can just hold that. That's my job. But you're the one doing it. Cut, 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 cut. Go ahead. Why would you not do it? Like, इतना पैसा में तेरे को इतना मिल रहा है, क्यों नहीं कर रहा है?
Absolutely.
एंड उसमें आके तुम बोलते हो सर मजा नहीं आया. One chamat you will get.
Absolutely. No, I'm super grateful and thankful I did that and, could meet you. And generally, this has been a fantastic conversation. I'm not surprised, Jaimit, but I think each and every nugget, is so nice. So thank you so much once again for taking out the time, and I hope you enjoyed.
I enjoyed Kavan. You are like extremely awesome. It's always nice talking to you, young person doing young things, trying to learn. When we have conversations with by you keep coming and asking these amazing questions. Just letting you know, I learn a lot also. The questions are also worth it, यार. कोई question पूछ रहा मजा आ रहा है. Question नहीं पूछता ना, then I don't like those conversations. Come on, man. Let's start asking. Let's start figuring. You tell your stuff. I tell you. World is better. Awesome. Thank you for having me over, man.
Thank you, Jaimit, and for everybody who stuck along. If you want an amazing leader like Jaimit, once again, please like, share, subscribe. We'll have somebody coming soon next week. Thank you.